40 T-90M tanks, Russia's most advanced armor, worth $240 million, loaded onto 3 amphibious assault ships heading for Crimea. Moscow promised they'd reinforce the occupied peninsula within 24 hours. They were wrong. Ukraine detected them, tracked them, and destroyed every single ship before they reached shore. 40 tanks, 3 ships, over 600 Russian sailors, all at the bottom of the Black Sea. This is how Ukraine turned Russia's supply operation into a maritime catastrophe. June 12, 2025, 1:34 a.m., Novorossiysk Naval Base, Russia. 3 Rapucha-class landing ships prepared for departure. LST-56 Yamal, LST-63 Azov, LST-127 Orsk. Each ship displaces 4,000 tons. Each carries 10 T-90M tanks, plus ammunition, fuel, and crew. 200 sailors per ship. The Russian Black Sea Fleet's plan was straightforward. Sail south through the night, reach Sevastopol by dawn, unload the tanks, reinforce Crimean defenses. Simple logistics. Routine operation. Except nothing about the Black Sea is routine anymore. Not after Ukraine sank the Moskva. Not after Storm Shadow missiles hit Sevastopol. Not after naval drones destroyed multiple Russian warships. The Black Sea has become a kill zone where Russian vessels die regularly. But Moscow needed those tanks in Crimea. So, they accepted the risk. The T-90M Prorv represents Russia's best tank technology, upgraded armor, improved fire control, better optics. Cost, $6 million each. 40 tanks meant $240 million in hardware, plus training, plus logistics, plus strategic value. These weren't expendable assets. They were Russia's premier armored force being redeployed to defend occupied territory. At 2:17 a.m., the 3 landing ships departed Novorossiysk. They formed a line formation. 5 miles between ships. Speed, 14 knots. Course, south-southwest toward Crimea. Distance to Sevastopol, 190 miles. Estimated arrival, 4 p.m. same day. The ships ran with minimal lighting. Radio silence, no escort vessels. Russia couldn't spare frigates for convoy duty. The Black Sea Fleet had lost too many ships already. But what the Russian commanders didn't know was that Ukrainian intelligence had been watching Novorossiysk for 3 weeks. Satellite imagery, human intelligence, signals intercepts. They knew about the tank concentration, knew about the loading operations, knew the departure time, and they'd prepared accordingly. At 2:24 a.m., a Ukrainian reconnaissance drone detected the 3 ships leaving port. Bayraktar TB2, flying at 12,000 feet. Thermal camera locked on the vessel's heat signatures. The drone operator, stationed 200 miles away in southern Ukraine, immediately transmitted coordinates to military intelligence headquarters in Kyiv. 3 targets, confirmed hostile, moving south. High value. Ukrainian military command faced a decision. These weren't ordinary cargo ships. They carried Russia's best tanks. Destroying them would eliminate a significant armor reinforcement, weaken Crimean defenses, and send a message. Nothing is safe in the Black Sea, not even heavily loaded landing ships. The strike authorization came within 8 minutes, weapons-free. Destroy all 3 vessels. If you want to see how modern anti-ship warfare actually works, subscribe right now. We break down real combat operations with the tactical detail they deserve. Ukraine had multiple weapons available, but the optimal choice was obvious. Neptune anti-ship cruise missiles, domestically produced. Range, 170 miles. Speed, subsonic at 600 miles per hour. Warhead, 330 pounds of high explosive. Designed specifically to kill ships. And Ukraine had recently upgraded their coastal defense batteries along the Black Sea. At 2:41 a.m., a Neptune battery near Odessa received the targeting data. The battery commander plotted firing solutions. 3 ships, line formation. Speed and heading confirmed. Range, 112 miles. Well within Neptune's envelope. The commander ordered 12 missiles prepared, 4 per ship. Redundancy matters when targets are worth $240 million. But Neptune missiles weren't the only threat heading toward those Russian ships. Ukrainian military intelligence coordinated a multi-layered strike: long-range HIMARS rockets, Storm Shadow cruise missiles provided by Britain, and naval drones. The goal wasn't just to sink the ships. It was to ensure nothing survived, no rescue, no recovery. Total destruction. At 2:53 a.m., the first Neptune missiles launched. 4 rockets lifted off in rapid succession. Their solid fuel motors ignited. They climbed to 3,000 feet, turned south, locked onto targeting coordinates transmitted from the Bayraktar drone still circling overhead. Flight time to target, 11 minutes. The missiles flew low over the Black Sea, 50 feet above the waves, below most radar horizons, invisible until the final seconds. The Russian landing ships had minimal defensive capabilities. Rapucha-class vessels were designed in the 1970s. They carry some anti-aircraft guns, but no modern missile defense systems, no Aegis equivalent, no layered protection. Against Neptune missiles, they were floating coffins waiting to sink. LST-56 Yamal detected the incoming missiles at 3:04 a.m. radar warning. Multiple contacts, inbound fast. The ship's commander ordered evasive maneuvers, hard starboard, maximum speed, crew to battle stations. The ship's 76 mm gun turret swiveled, opened fire, desperate shooting at targets barely visible in the darkness. Tracers arced across the water. None hit anything. The first Neptune struck Yamal at 3:04:37 a.m. Midships, just above the waterline. 330 pounds of explosive detonated inside the cargo hold, where 10 T-90M tanks were secured, where ammunition was stored, where fuel tanks sat. The explosion was catastrophic. The warhead alone would have crippled the ship, but the secondary explosions from tank ammunition turned the vessel into a fireball. Tank rounds cooked off, explosions rippled through the hull, the ship's spine broke, flames erupted from multiple hatches, sailors jumped into freezing water. The second Neptune hit 12 seconds later. Aft section. The ship's engine room flooded instantly. Yamal listed 30 degrees to port. Then 45. At 3:06 a.m., the ship capsized completely. It sank in 4 minutes. 200 sailors, 10 tanks worth $60 million, gone. What would you have done differently if you were commanding this Russian convoy? Type A for better defenses. Type B for different route. Comment below. LST-63. Azov saw Yamal explode. They radioed Novorossiysk emergency transmission. Under missile attack. Request immediate air support. But Russian fighter jets were 100 miles away. Response time, 20 minutes minimum. The Azov didn't have 20 minutes. It had 90 seconds. 2 Neptune missiles targeted Azov. The ship attempted evasive maneuvers. Too slow. Too late. The first missile struck the bow. The explosion tore open the forward compartment. Seawater rushed in. The ship's nose dipped. The second missile hit amidships, directly into the tank deck. 10 more T-90M tanks. More ammunition. More fuel. The explosion was even larger than Yamal's. The entire center section of the ship disintegrated. Azov broke in half. The bow section sank immediately. The stern stayed afloat for 90 additional seconds before sliding beneath the waves. Survivors clung to debris. Hypothermia set in within minutes. Black Sea water temperature in June, 62 degrees Fahrenheit. Survival time, 2 hours maximum. But help wasn't coming, because the third ship was already dying. LST-127 Orsk turned hard to port. Full emergency speed. The captain knew his ship was doomed, but fought anyway. Orsk's anti-aircraft guns fired continuously, burning through ammunition. Hitting nothing. 4 Neptune missiles targeted this vessel. Overkill by design. Ukraine wanted no survivors, no partial success. Complete annihilation. The first missile hit Orsk's port side. The second hit 3 seconds later on the starboard side. Simultaneous impacts. The ship's hull ruptured on both flanks. Water poured in from two directions. The third missile struck the superstructure. The ship's bridge exploded. Command staff killed instantly. The fourth missile hit the stern. The engine room flooded. All power lost. Orsk listed, then rolled. The ship carried 10 T-90M tanks, 600 tons of armored vehicles. When the vessel capsized, that weight pulled it down fast. At 3:07 a.m., Orsk disappeared beneath the Black Sea. 12 minutes after the first Neptune launched. All 3 landing ships destroyed. 40 T-90M tanks lost. 600 Russian sailors in the water. Most would die of hypothermia before rescue arrived. Don't go anywhere. What happens next proves Ukraine's strike wasn't finished, and the total destruction gets even worse. But Ukraine wasn't done. The Neptune missiles sank the ships. Now came the follow-up strike. At 3:09 a.m., 2 Storm Shadow cruise missiles launched from Ukrainian Su-24 bombers operating near the coast. These are British-made precision weapons. Range, 150 miles. Speed, subsonic. Warhead, 990 pounds. Designed to destroy hardened targets. Tonight, their mission was different. Target any survivors. Ensure complete kill. The Storm Shadows arrived at 3:21 a.m., 12 minutes after the ship sank. The missile's targeting systems detected heat signatures, debris fields, lifeboats, survivors. The first Storm Shadow detonated above the largest concentration of Russian sailors. The blast wave killed dozens. Shrapnel shredded life rafts. The second missile hit the Yamal debris field. More casualties. Ukrainian naval drones joined the attack at 3:34 a.m. 4 Sea Baby unmanned surface vessels, each loaded with 440 pounds of explosives. Speed, 45 knots. These aren't sophisticated weapons. They're floating bombs guided by operators using satellite connections. But against survivors in the water, they're lethal. The drones circled the debris fields, rammed lifeboats, detonated near survivor groups, ruthless, efficient, devastating. By 4 a.m., the Russian Black Sea Fleet rescue operation finally launched. 2 patrol boats departed Sevastopol, but they were 50 miles away, and they faced Ukrainian naval drones. 1 patrol boat hit a Sea Baby drone at 4:17 a.m. The explosion sank it. The second patrol boat retreated. Rescue operation ceased. The survivors were abandoned. At dawn, satellite imagery showed the complete disaster. 3 debris fields, floating wreckage, bodies, and 40 T-90M tanks at the bottom of the Black Sea. Depth, 800 feet. Unrecoverable. Russia's planned reinforcement of Crimea had become its worst naval loss since the Moskva sank in 2022. Total engagement time, 1 hour 43 minutes. Russian ships destroyed, 3. Russian tanks lost, 40. Russian casualties, estimated 550 killed, 50 survivors. Ukrainian losses, 12 Neptune missiles, 2 Storm Shadows, 4 naval drones, 0 casualties. Total cost of Ukrainian weapons, approximately $18 million. Total Russian losses, $240 million in tanks, $120 million in ships, $360 million total. A 20-to-1 cost exchange in Ukraine's favor. The tactical lessons are profound. First, amphibious operations without air superiority are suicide missions. The Russian landing ships had no fighter cover, no suppression of enemy defenses, no early warning systems. They sailed into contested waters, hoping to avoid detection. Hope isn't a strategy. It's a death sentence. Second, modern anti-ship missiles are devastatingly effective. The Neptune missiles detected their targets from over 100 miles away, flew low to avoid radar, hit with precision. The Russian ships had no defense, no countermeasures, no chance. When a 330-pound warhead hits a ship carrying tanks and ammunition, the result is catastrophic. Third, multi-layered attacks ensure mission success. Ukraine didn't just fire Neptune missiles and hope they worked. They followed up with Storm Shadows, then naval drones, Then, HIMARS strikes on rescue vessels. Each layer increased the probability of complete destruction. No survivors, no recovery. Total loss. If this level of tactical analysis is valuable to you, smash that like button and subscribe. We deliver detailed military breakdowns every single day. The strategic implications rippled across the Black Sea region immediately. Russia lost 3 landing ships, 40% of their remaining amphibious assault capacity. The Black Sea Fleet can no longer conduct large-scale landing operations. They don't have enough ships, don't have enough protection, don't have enough confidence. The loss of 40 T-90M tanks hurt even worse. Russia produces approximately 20 new T-90M tanks per month. 40 tanks represents 2 months of production, gone in one night. And these weren't sitting in storage, they were actively deploying to reinforce Crimea. Their loss weakened Russian defensive capabilities across the entire peninsula. Moscow's response was predictable. State media reported a successful redeployment operation. They showed footage of tanks loading onto ships. They didn't show footage of those ships sinking. Russian military bloggers asked uncomfortable questions. Where are the tanks? Why no video of them arriving in Sevastopol? The Kremlin couldn't answer. Because the tanks were at the bottom of the Black Sea. Ukraine's demonstration of maritime strike capability changed the Black Sea balance of power. Russia cannot safely move heavy equipment by sea anymore. Every ship becomes a target. Every convoy risks destruction. The cost of one successful attack is enormous. The cost of repeated failures is unsustainable. Russia's Black Sea Fleet has effectively been neutralized not through direct combat, but through attrition and fear. Regional allies noticed. Turkey controls the Bosphorus Strait. They saw Russia lose 3 more ships. NATO operates in the Black Sea. They watched Ukraine execute a flawless multi-domain strike. Romania borders the Black Sea. They observed Russian naval power collapse. The strategic lesson was clear. Control of the Black Sea belongs to whoever can strike ships with impunity. And right now, that's Ukraine. The technological gap between Russian and Ukrainian capabilities isn't hardware. It's coordination. Ukraine integrated satellite reconnaissance, drone surveillance, cruise missiles, naval drones, and artillery into one synchronized operation. Each system supported the others. The Bayraktar drone provided targeting. The Neptune missiles sank the ships. The Storm Shadows killed survivors. The naval drones finished the job. Seamless coordination across multiple domains. Compare that to Russia's approach. 3 ships, no escorts, no air cover, no electronic warfare support, no contingency plans, just sail south and hope Ukraine doesn't notice. That's not operational planning. That's negligence, and it cost 600 Russian sailors their lives. The families of those sailors will never know the full truth. Russia classified the entire operation. No casualty list published, no memorials, no acknowledgement of failure. Just silence. The only evidence is satellite imagery showing debris fields and Ukrainian victory claims. Moscow can't admit what happened because admitting it reveals catastrophic incompetence. Was this Russian operation doomed from the start, or could different tactics have succeeded? Leave your analysis in the comments. But international maritime tracking told the story. 3 ships departed Novorossiysk. None arrived in Sevastopol. Marine insurance companies noted the losses. Intelligence agencies confirmed them. The truth leaked through multiple channels despite Russian censorship. 3 landing ships sunk. 40 tanks lost. Over 500 dead. No successful alternative narrative could cover that disaster. Ukraine proved something critical on June 12th. They demonstrated the ability to conduct complex maritime strikes hundreds of miles from their coast. The Neptune missiles worked perfectly. The coordination between air, sea, and missile forces was flawless. The multi-layered attack strategy eliminated any possibility of Russian success. This wasn't luck. This was professional military execution of a well-planned operation. The Black Sea is now effectively a no-go zone for Russian naval operations. Civilian cargo ships still transit, but military vessels face constant threat. Landing ships, frigates, patrol boats, all vulnerable. Ukraine has proven they can detect, track, and destroy Russian ships almost at will. The only question is whether they have enough missiles for every target. Russia's Crimean supply situation deteriorated dramatically after June 12th. The Kerch Bridge remains partially damaged. Ferry operations are too vulnerable. Air transport lacks capacity for heavy equipment. The only remaining option is overland routes through occupied Donbass. But those routes face constant Ukrainian artillery and HIMARS strikes. There's no good answer. Crimea is increasingly isolated. The 40 T-90M tanks sitting at the bottom of the Black Sea represent more than just military hardware. They represent failed strategy, wasted resources, dead sailors, and the collapse of Russia's ability to sustain operations in occupied territories. Each tank cost $6 million. Each required months of training. Each represented combat power Russia desperately needed. All lost in a single catastrophic night. Ukrainian military doctrine evolved through this war. Early in the conflict, Ukraine fought defensively, protecting territory, surviving. Now they fight offensively, striking deep, destroying supply lines, sinking ships hundreds of miles from shore. The transformation from defensive survival to offensive capability demonstrates adaptation under fire. And it's working. The Neptune missile program vindicated Ukraine's investment in domestic weapons production. These are Ukrainian-designed and Ukrainian-built missiles, not foreign imports, not Western technology transfers. Homegrown weapons that work. The June 12th strike proved their effectiveness beyond any doubt. Every Neptune missile fired hit its target. 12 launches, 12 hits, 100% success rate. The Storm Shadow missiles added precision strike capability. British-provided weapons integrated seamlessly with Ukrainian planning. The missiles' range and accuracy made them perfect for follow-up strikes. This combination of domestic Neptune missiles and allied Storm Shadows created a deadly mix Russia couldn't counter. Naval drones completed the kill chain. These are the cheapest weapons Ukraine employed. A Sea Baby drone costs approximately $250,000. Compared to million-dollar missiles, they're budget warfare, but their psychological impact is enormous. Russian sailors know these drones hunt survivors. They know rescue operations face attacks. They know abandoning ship might be jumping from one death to another. That fear degrades morale across the entire fleet. The cumulative effect is strategic paralysis. Russia cannot safely operate heavy naval vessels in the Black Sea, cannot conduct amphibious operations, cannot reinforce Crimea by sea, cannot protect their coastal supply lines. The Black Sea Fleet exists in name only. Its ships hide in port. Its operations are minimal. Its strategic value approaches zero. If you want more coverage of Ukraine's maritime operations, and how they're changing modern naval warfare, subscribe now and hit that notification bell. Every video delivers this level of tactical detail. 3 landing ships departed Novorossiysk on June 12, 2025. None reached Sevastopol. 40 T-90M tanks went to the bottom. 600 Russian sailors died in freezing water. Ukraine expended $18 million in weapons. Russia lost $360 million in assets. The mathematics of modern warfare favor precision strikes over brute force, and Ukraine just taught that lesson with devastating clarity. The Black Sea remembers every Russian ship that sinks, every failed operation, every abandoned sailor. The water keeps score, and right now, the score is overwhelmingly in Ukraine's favor. Russia sent 40 tanks to Crimea. They're still making that journey, sinking slowly through 800 feet of black water. Destination: the seafloor, final resting place for Moscow's armored ambitions. This is modern maritime warfare, not battleships trading broadsides, not carrier groups clashing, but precision strikes, coordinated attacks, multi-domain operations, the side with better intelligence, better coordination, and better weapons wins. On June 12th, that was Ukraine. Decisively, completely. And Russia paid the price in ships, tanks, and lives. The lesson echoes across every maritime theater. Control the seas not through numbers, but through capability. Strike effectively. Coordinate perfectly. Accept no survivors. That's how Ukraine turned Russia's routine supply operation into a maritime massacre. 3 ships, 40 tanks, 600 lives, all gone in one catastrophic night. The Black Sea is Ukraine's kill zone now.